everyone, welcome to the first video in my How to Knit series. In this series, I will be teaching various knit stitches and techniques, starting from the basics and working up. Today, I'll be showing you how to cast on. There are lots of different ways to cast on that each give different results. Some are more stretchy, some are stiff, and some continue the stitch pattern used in the design, and various other things depending on what it is that you're making. But the way I'll show you in this video tends to be a pretty standard method to learn with, at least in my experience, and it's a method that I always use when I teach, and I find it works pretty well. For this, you will need 2 knitting needles. I'm using these 12mm bamboo needles and some yarn. This is just acrylic yarn, and as you can see, it's fairly thick, which makes it quite a bit easier to learn on. The first thing you need to do is make a slip knot. There are a ton of ways to do this, but the way that I like to do it is to take the yarn and lay it across my palm with the short end towards the bottom and wrap it around my finger twice. You then take the first loop and move it over the second loop. Take the second loop and move it over the first loop and off your finger, and pull the long end to tighten the knot. Now you put the loop on one of the needles and pull the long tail to tighten the knot. You'll need to make sure that you don't make it too tight, as that will make it pretty tricky to knit later. Take the other needle in your right hand and insert it through the loop on the left hand needle, going up from the bottom, like that. This is where it's a lot easier if you didn't over tighten the knot before. If you did though, don't worry, it's super easy to fix. Just tug at the knot beneath the loop until it's as loose as you need it. Now taking your needle and pushing it through the loop from the bottom to the top, so the right hand needle is behind the left hand needle and it creates an X. Take the long end of the yarn and wrap it behind the back needle and in through the V created by both of the needles towards the front. Right? Take it behind the right needle, through the middle of them both, and to the front. Now take with your right hand needle, move it down a bit, making sure that the tip of it doesn't fall through the loop. Now you want to move it over the long tail of the yarn and catch it underneath. I'll see if I can move it up to show you. Catch it underneath like that. Then you pull the loop on your right needle and put it over to the top onto your left needle and give the yarn a bit of a tug to tighten it up, but don't make it too tight because again it'll make it pretty tricky to knit later. Now to show you again, on this new stitch you put the needle up through the loop to create an X. Take the long tail of yarn, wrap it behind the back needle, in between the V between the needles, and to the front. Move the right needle down, but not too far, you don't want it slipping off, and catch the yarn like so. Then you can make it a bit bigger if that helps, or you can just slide the other stitches up the needle and you pass it onto your left needle, putting your left needle in between the loop like so. Then again you just move up onto the next stitch, so this will now be the stitch that you put your needle into, putting it in up from the bottom, taking your yarn, putting it around behind the back, through the middle and towards the front, pulling the needle down, catching the yarn along the tip, making sure that the loop doesn't come off your right hand needle, and then passing it onto the left hand needle. Now that new loop now becomes the loop that you insert your right hand needle into again. Put your needle in, through the loop towards the back, take your yarn, move it around the back, through the middle, and around behind the left one to the front. Pull your right hand needle down, but make sure you don't lose the loop. Catch the loop on the tip and transfer the new loop from the right hand needle onto the left hand needle. And to show you one more time, on this new loop, slide your right hand needle through to the back to create a V or an X. Wrap the yarn behind the right hand needle, through the middle of them both, and down to the front. Slide your right hand needle down, catch the loop, and transfer it back to the left needle, pulling the yarn a bit but not too tight. And that is how you cast on. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped. If it did, and if you feel like it, please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. If you have anything you would like me to cover in future videos or have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next week. Bye!